Yeah, hi everybody at YouTube, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all the lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. It's just a normal day, August 8th, and I'm going to listen to some speaking practice tests from some of my online students, so I'm going to my Voxy Pop group. If anybody wants to go eavesdrop and listen to some of my comments I'm giving to my students, you can go. Here are the key words. The Voxy Pop speaking group for TOEFL students, maybe. That's probably good enough. Alright, so let's take a look. Right, today I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 practice tests I have to score. I've already scored 4 earlier. So I'm going to start with my first one here, dieta. Okay, let's see what we have. And dieta is kind of interesting. Her score right now is about 24 points out of 30, and I just did an analysis of her score report to figure out exactly what it is that's holding her back. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for dieta, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. Yes, I did analysis of your score report. I'll send you a video pretty soon. So I have a pretty good idea of some things I need to look for. So when you're doing independent speaking tasks, number 1 and 2, for example, I need to really check your pronunciation and your organization. Also, you have limited grammar and vocabulary with some errors that prevent you from fully expressing your ideas. So I will double check some of these things as I listen to your practice tests in the next week or so. For integrated speaking tasks 4 and 6, you're having problems with pronunciation and intonation, and you're having topic development problems and inaccurate discussion of ideas. So if I were you, do a lot of practice with independent speaking tasks 1 and 2, and then integrated speaking tasks number 4 and number 6. That's where you need the feedback. This is where you need more feedback in those areas. Okay, here we go. Let's listen to your independent speaking practice test number 241. And let me go ahead and listen to it right now. Let's see what we have. Or actually, let me read the question here. So, are you an adventurous eater, or do you prefer to go to the same restaurant and eat the same dish every time? Why? Okay, here we go.
I always consider myself as an adventurous eater because I enjoy trying some new.
Number 15.
Hold on a minute.
Activation.
We have something else going on here. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, I think I have it. Okay, here we go.
I always consider myself as an adventurous eater because I enjoy trying some new food every day. First of all, it's a good experience to try new food. For example, last week my friend Sarah recommended a Chinese restaurant that I hadn't tried before. I went with her and it was a very good experience because the food was very delicious.
Okay, so probably the way that you said that, if you want to demonstrate more advanced grammar, you can combine those 2 sentences maybe. That might help.
Moreover, it's very important to get adapted to trying new food because it would help in some conditions. For instance,
I like your use of the word because that's definitely showing how the ideas are connected, right? But I had some trouble understanding some of what you said. Let me go back.
It's very important to get adapted to trying new food because it would help in some conditions. For instance, when
it would help what? Wait a minute.
Get adapted to trying new food because it would help in some conditions. For instance,
it would help in some conditions. I don't know. I think that's a word stress issue. I can't quite get what you're saying there.
when I traveled to Italy last year, I didn't face any problem to try any food because I got adapted to this condition. However, my friend who used to eat some specific food found some difficulty because he was eating only bread for 5 days as he didn't find any food to eat.
Okay, so I think on this one, I think you're having some intelligibility issues, especially with those couple words. I couldn't quite figure out what you were saying. You had a pretty good organization. You had some examples in there. So I would say think about combining your sentences a little bit more, and I think that might help with some of your ideas. So try to use adjective clauses a little bit more. Think about using participial phrases, maybe present and past participial phrases, and also using appositives. That might help advance your grammar a little bit because that's one of the things you're trying to work on. On this one, I'll put you about 23 points out of 30 on this, 3.0 out of 4, mainly due to some intelligibility issues. Did I just yawn in front of the video? I apologize for that. I almost forgot. I forgot I was doing a video here and I was just talking to somebody without video and there I am yawning. Wow. Again, I apologize for that rudeness. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next one is Meg de Almeida.
I disagree with the first.
This one I have to delete it. She recorded more than 2 speaking practice tests in 24 hours, so you can't do that. I'll get too busy. Yeah, hi there, Meg de Almeida, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. Excuse me. Alright, this is my stress ball here, by the way. Okay, so you did an independent speaking practice test number 27. So let me double check what this one is. Compared to schools you attended, use details in your comparisons, and believe it or not, this actually appeared on the TOEFL IBT exam. Not easy to answer this kind of a question.
When I was in Brazil, I attended a pharmacy school in a public university, what would take me 4 years to graduate from. However, the students struggled twice with strikes made up by faculty members.
What schools are being compared, though? I'm still not exactly sure what you're doing here. Or maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. Let me see. So it's, you're number 27, right? Yeah, compared to schools that you attended, it isn't clear from the beginning of your response that you're comparing anything.
What caused us a year of delay in our graduation. Therefore, instead of 4 years, it took me 5 years to become a pharmacist. In fact, on the other hand, when I went to take my 4-year doctorate abroad in a public university of the United States, the educational process went smoothly and in accordance with the curriculum schedule. This is the reason why I feel my doctorate was less stressful and more predictable.
Okay, so I think part of it is in the beginning of your response. So you have to do a little bit better in setting up what's happening. Let me listen to the beginning one more time.
When I was in Brazil, I attended the pharmacy school in a public university. What would take me 4 years to graduate?
That's what I would do. I would say 2 schools that I attended were the school in Brazil, the pharmacy school in Brazil, along with the doctorate program in the United States. These schools are different in terms of, and state one point. Then talk about each school as it relates to that one idea, and you'll probably have a little bit better, more coherent organization there. So I think you can improve your topic development on this one. Pretty good language use, maybe some delivery issues with it. I'm going to put you at 2.5 out of 4, 19 points out of 30 on this practice test. Okay, we got that one done. Yeah, that compare and contrast structure is not easy. No doubt. So she said this will give it a little bit better organization. So, well, 2 schools I attended were the pharmacy school in Brazil, along with the doctorate program of pharmacy here in the United States. These schools are very different in terms of the curriculum. Then she talks about the curriculum of the first school, and then she contrasts that discussion with the curriculum of the new school, of the doctorate school, and shows how it's very different, and that will give it a little bit better organization. Okay, we got about 3 more. Yeah, hi there. These comments are from Marcelak, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass a TOEFL IBT. And good afternoon to you. And right now I'm taking a look at your independent speaking practice test number 26. So it says, do you agree or disagree? Your friends are the most important influence in your life. Use details and examples to explain your opinion.
I disagree with the statement which says that my friends are the most important influence in my life, because my parents really are the most important influence. First of all, my parents have served as my support.
When you say parents, you need to pronounce the P with more air. So parents. The P sound is so explosive in English. Think about it. When I put a piece of paper in front of my mouth and I say the word parents, 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 you can see how strong that P sound is. So a little bit more air there.
Depending on what I am doing, they will give me some suggestions and advices. For example,
usually advice is an uncount noun, suggestion is a count noun, so you can say they usually give me suggestions and advice. You can probably just say one or the other. They usually give me suggestions or they give me advice.
while we're trying to find a new house, they will give me some suggestion about which characteristics are more important and which skills I would need in the future, such as cooking.
Okay.
In addition, they will support me and help me in troubles I am having, but it is not common in friends. Overall, because of that, I think my parents are the most important.
Okay, you kind of ran out of time at the end, so some minor topic development issues with your response there. Overall, though, you had a fairly clear connection of ideas. Vocabulary, I'm going to say your vocabulary at times can be a little bit basic, so you can probably work on being even more precise than you are with the vocabulary that you use. Delivery, you're still working in that area. You're intelligible, but you do have a fairly strong non-native speaker accent. Right? So even with your intonation, I think you can work on that. So if you go to pronunciation lessons 36 through 40, all of which will help you to practice your pronunciation or intonation a little bit more. Your score here, I'm going to put you at about 2.83 out of 4, 22 points out of 30 on this practice test. So I just uploaded my comments to his practice test.
According to the book, the electrical basis for the magnetic properties of...
Okay, so she's doing some pronunciation practice. Oh. Okay, I need to find that reading passage. I'm going to give her some pronunciation feedback in that area. Okay, give me a quick second here. Found it. Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Ravender K, and I am Michael, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-step system to pass the TOEFL IBT. So I'm taking a look at some pronunciation practice that you just submitted. So it's focusing on the 3 vowel sounds, the big U, the little U, and the wedge. Okay, let's hear what you're saying here.
According to the book, the electrical basis for the magnetic properties of matter have been verified down to the atomic level. Because the electron have both an electric charge and a spin, it can be called a charge in motion.
Good.
This charge in motion gives rise to a tiny magnetic field. In the case of many atoms, all the electrons are...
You can just say atoms. In the case of many atoms,
at an energy level according to the exclusion principle, so that the electron in each pair have opposite anti-parallel spins and their magnetic field cancel.
you can say anti-parallel. So anti-parallel spins.
In some atoms, however, there are more electrons with spin in one direction than in the other, resulting in a net magnetic field for the atom as a whole. This situation exists in a paramagnetic substance.
Okay, so the paramagnetic substance, so just be careful with the P. Make sure you're pronouncing it with enough air. Now, the one thing I'd like you to work on here is, in addition to the sounds that you're practicing there, is actually your intonation.
According to the book, the electrical basis for the magnetic properties of matter have been verified down to the atomic level.
Okay, so what you want to do here, you want to change your intonation so it's not monotone. So let me read it again. So here's a trick, and you can go to pronunciation lessons 41 through 44 if you want more information in this area. But step one, Ravender, is to divide a sentence into thought groups. That means we pause after 4 or 5 stressed syllables. After each thought group, the tone slightly rises in pitch until we get to the last thought group, or the last word in the last thought group, and then the tone drops. Here's how it sounds. According to the book, the electrical basis for the magnetic properties of matter have been verified down to the atomic level. Because the electron has both an electric charge and a spin, it can be called a charge in motion. This change in motion gives rise to a tiny magnetic field. In the case of many atoms, all the electrons are paired within energy levels according to the exclusion principle, so that the electrons in each pair have opposite anti-parallel spins and their magnetic fields cancel. In some atoms, however, there are more electrons with spins in one direction than the other, resulting in a net magnetic field for the atom as a whole. This situation exists in a paramagnetic substance. You're kind of getting my feel there, is you want to make sure that I took each sentence, and at my appropriate pauses, I had a slightly higher inflection at the end of each of those thought groups until I got to the last word in the sentence, then my tone dropped. And that tells the audience I'm done with that idea. So that's definitely something that you can work on. All right? See how many more. I think I'm just about done. So boy, my students are working really hard right now. When they work hard, I work hard. Everybody works hard. Yeah, I think that's it.